see on your left-hand side some bunkers, some trenches. This was of the Israeli army prior to 1967, to the 6 Days War. And when you look from here, you can first of all see the beginning of Mount Hermon to the right, to the north. The tallest mountain in the Middle East climbs to about 10,000 feet above sea level, the highest mountain in the Middle East. And then, if you look straight in front of us, there are villages on the hilltops, on the mountain tops. That is all in Lebanon. That is Lebanon over there. And if you look at the village to the left there, half of that village is in Lebanon, half is in Israel.
Oh, wow.
Cool. The one in the center here, in the valley. Yeah. That is half in Lebanon, half in Israel. We'll see it when we go a little further up and turn right to the Golan Heights. We'll see it again. That is half in Lebanon, half in Israel. We're contemplating now, thinking to give the whole thing back to Lebanon. There's a story behind it of the 6 Days War that is interesting, but it's okay. But this is the gateway for drugs into Israel. So we want to return the whole thing and let them deal with it. Hezbollah is actually financing itself through drugs all over the world. In Europe, in the States, in South America, the money for Hezbollah comes from unclean things. Okay? But here there's a story that I want to share with you. The border with Lebanon is just a little bit further on here. See the conies over there in the field? I guess there's a, over here. You know, all of a sudden it hits me. They're not conies, they're cownies.
How many years did it take to come up with that?
It's the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you get a revelation every once in a while, you know. So, there's a story here. You have heard, I'm sure, of different miracles in the wars of Israel. Different stories that are absolute miracles, that there is no logical explanation. Some of them are maybe even beyond that. And over here comes a story from the War of Independence, which is one of the miracles of Israel. In 1948, the War of Independence, there is a kibbutz a little bit further down here, a cooperative farm, where all the men were in the army. There was the people that did the work, there were the women and the elderly folks, and they didn't have anybody to defend the place. If anybody would do it, it would have to be the army. And one summer day, all of a sudden, coming from over this direction, appears a division of tanks, Syrian tanks. And you can see that it's all open land. Nothing can stop them. Nothing can stop them. I mean, there is no soldiers, there are no anti-tank weapons, no mortars, cannons, or whatever. And the kibbutz is about to fall into their hands without any problems. I mean, there is nothing that anybody can do. The tanks regroup here before their attack. And in the summer, all the grass that you see here, well, it grows pretty high, and it is dry. So a couple or three, I'm not sure, of the elder people in the kibbutz came through the fields without anybody noticing them, with Molotov cocktails in their hands. And as they approached near, as they came near the tanks, they set the whole fields ablaze. Same story of what Samson did with the foxes for the Philistines. The tanks caught fire and the Syrians retreated. What they left was, if you look at the bunch of trees there, not the three on the right, but the big one in the center, in front of it, See the brown thing there?
Yes.
That is one of the tanks of the Syrians from the War of Independence. One of the stories of the War of Independence. There are many more in every one of our wars, folks. In the 6 Days War, in the Yom Kippur War, where our tanks were inside a minefield and they did not even know they stopped for the night, and a huge gust of wind came and blew the dust away, the soil away, and they found out that they're right in the center of a minefield. And if not for that wind that came, God knows how many more would have lost there. Other stories, some of them are absolutely, one that I love the most comes from the last operation in Gaza, when the paratroopers were there. And the story is about a platoon of paratroopers who were going to go into one of the buildings there. And just before they go in, a woman appears out of nowhere and tells them in Hebrew, don't go in there, it's booby-trapped. So they move on and they go to another building. And just before they go in, once again, that same woman appears and says to them, don't go in there, it's also booby-trapped. Now, when you're in a battle, you don't think, you work on automatic. They didn't even wonder, what in the world, who is this woman? So they go to the third building, and she appears for the third time. And then they understand that something unique is happening. So they ask her, who are you? And she says, I'm Rachel. Rachel. You need to understand that Rachel is the protecting mother for us. Jeremiah says, Rachel crying over her children, for they're not. She is the mother protector. And it is so perfect that she would be there. I've not been there, but I believe that these things happen. Part of the story of this country, just like the story of the tank that is there. There are a couple more hidden out there. These are the stories of which this country is made, folks. And at least we could show you one of them. We're going now back to the bus, the way we came here. And let me lead the way.